What is up, boys? It's your boy Hammer Baby, back at it again with another video. We're back and today, that's right, we're continuing the series, the One Piece Moment series. We took last episode, we had Luffy. This episode, we're doing none other than the GOAT himself, Zoro. That's right, top 5 Zoro moments coming right up. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's just get straight into it. And in number 5, that's right, we have Zoro versus Mihawk. Now, what makes this so badass? Whoa, this is right after the Barriere arc, which is, you know, where we get 5 joins the crew, right? And so he joins the crew, and you know, the Barriere's been destroyed and all this shit, and you know, a whole bunch of shit happened, and they were fighting some like random dude, and it went on for a little while, and then out of nowhere, this freaking Dracula looking ass dude named Mihawk pulls up on a ship, which is just a cross and a chair, right? That's just infinite amounts of aura, like right off rip, right? It's a cross and a chair. He pulls up, and then he declares himself as the strongest swordsman in the world. Well, Zoro obviously recognized him, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm here to fight you. I'm here to become the strongest. And well, let's just say we all know how that ended. They got into a fight. Mihawk whips out a little ass butter knife and no diffs Zoro on the spot like that. It's just a pretty crazy moment. Now, what makes this moment really special for Zoro is obviously the aftermath of that, and you know, his whole entire saying to Luffy where he says, I will never lose ever again. And I mean, truth be told, he's kept that promise. I don't think Zoro has lost a fight since he lost to Mihawk. Yeah, so from the speech to the battle to him getting no diff, but him proving his loyalty to his crew, and that is one thing Zoro is known for, his loyalty. He is loyal. He's a ride or die. Zoro is the first one to show up and the last one to leave a fight. Listen, he is the GOAT of this show. That's why he's my favorite character. He's the ride or die for Luffy, right hand man for a reason. I mean, he's just badass. He uses 3 swords, one in his fucking mouth. Like, how cool can you get? In number 4, this is obviously not really a sort of like, this is not his fight. Like, come on, we know Zoro's strength and capabilities in battle. Like, we know he could beat the shit out of people really easily. We know he has Conqueror's Haki and he doesn't even know it. He just uses it because of Enma. But we know Zoro is hella OP. But what makes Zoro is his like unyieldingness, his loyalty to the crew, his strength, and most importantly, I think, is code, or his honor to Luffy and the crew. And this moment, Zoro versus Usopp, aka Zoro telling Luffy, you ain't a bitch because Usopp made you a bitch, and now you have to stand your ground against your own crew. And this happens in episode 323. So it is after the Water 7 arc, and obviously Enies Lobby, Water 7, same arc on Crunchyroll. It's after Enies Lobby, they come back, they're chilling, and then obviously Frankie made them the new ship. They went from the Mary to the Sunny. Now they have the Sunny instead of the Mary, and obviously Usopp is in love with the Mary because Mary was gifted to him by his girlfriend, you know, the love of his life, the girl that he loved. And well, I mean, with that, you know, he had every right to be mad. He left the crew, but he challenged the captain. And Zoro said, using his code, that Usopp cannot come back to the crew unless the first words out of his mouth is an apology. And this was the first time that we saw like anything like this from Zoro, where he's just like, we aren't kids pretending to be pirates. We are pirates. There is a code to this. If my captain is allowing other people to belittle him like this, what does that say about me? Right? And that just shows you Zoro's mindset towards how much he respects Luffy, but also how much he respects his crew and how much he respects the honor of being a pirate. I mean, it's just badass. It doesn't have to always be fighting. It can also be stuff like this, which if you know Zoro, you probably know what number one's gonna be, and that ain't even a fighting fee. But no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers. Anyway, let's get into number 3. Now, coming in at number 3. Now we getting into the fights, Zoro's fights. All right, boys, this is where we lock the hell in, because this is where shit gets real. Coming in at number 3, we have the 103 mercies. Okay, and my camera is not focusing. Yep, focus up, thank. That's right, the 103 mercies. Now, if you remember this is Zoro's King of Hell move. Happens in episode 1062. It is his conclusion of the battle versus King. King as in Kaido's crew, second right-hand man, the Buccaneer type dude, whatever the hell, I forgot his Lunarian. This episode, right, it's the entire episode was basically Zoro versus King, and you know, we're getting flashbacks to King's backstory and all that, and also meanwhile Zoro was still trying to figure out what Enma was doing, because he could feel that Enma was taking the haki from his sword, he could feel the sword was taking the haki from his body, but he didn't know what haki it was. And obviously we know that it was Conqueror's haki, because Zoro couldn't use Conqueror's haki before he had Enma. And then when he got Enma, we saw the black lightning everywhere, and we know black lightning means conquerors. And so once he had the sword, he was like, bro, I'm still trying to figure out how to use the sword. But then he figured it out. He understood, okay, this sword takes, so I'ma just give. And then he started giving to Enma, and then Enma leveled him up like crazy, because we see literally what happens here. He's fighting King, and King has some superiority complex where he's like, no life form is better than me. I'm the strongest life form. You can't kill me. You can't win. You can't beat me. I am literally biologically better than you. And Zoro's like, I don't use those excuses. Then King. Now we gotta pause, talk about the animation real quick, because the animation this episode is fucking peak. I love that Toei always breaks bank when it comes to Zoro fights, because they love Zoro just as much as I love Zoro. So I always love that they fucking send all their budget into the Zoro fights, because I mean, he deserves it. When the flying cubes come out, that's how you know that shit's getting real. Anyway, so shit goes crazy. We see King flying up into the sky, and then he making a bunch of dragon rings, and then out of nowhere, and I'm playing the scene right now, but the impact frames, like, come on, like, if you've seen them, you've seen them. But yeah, King makes a bunch of rings in the sky, and then he starts shooting fucking lava dragons at Zoro, and Zoro, being the badass he is, takes his 3 swords, and he just starts slicing and dicing through these dragons, these lava dragons coming at him. And then the move comes out. King of Hell, 3-sword serpent, 103 mercies. Yeah, if you don't know the movie on Netflix as well, 103 mercies, Dragon Damnation, that is also one of Zoro's moves. But this move is from his ancestor, who is like his great grandpa or something. But anyway, that's a whole sidetrack. We don't want to keep sidetracking. But they clash, giant ball of white light happening in the sky, and boom, out comes Zoro on the other side, the victor of the battle. And then at the end, with his opponent falling in the background, all this rubble falling around him, his one eye burning in light, like red as hell, he just says, I guess I shall become the King of Hell. It's so fucking peak. It's so cool. It's so cool. And that's why it's on number 3. Now we get on to number 2, which is also another fight. So let's just get straight to it. Number 2, we have Zoro versus Lucci. Now let me rephrase. This isn't a fight. This is Zoro no diffing Lucci. Now, there's a lot of backstory to this fight, and I'm talking about Zoro versus Lucci in Egghead. So very recent arc. The fight, obviously I feel like, now this is just me, I feel like Zoro wasn't trying for half the fight. Then when his husbando, alright, now let me speak about his husbando. I don't ship these guys, but my girlfriend, she ships them hard. My girlfriend ships Zoro and Sanji, 5-Anji, a lot, right? And so, you know, they were fighting the whole episode, and then all of a sudden, 5Anji pulls up and is like, also, once again, animation, god tier. Like, can we just speak about it? It's the animation from 1 hour went from here to Egghead went like this. Like, how do they keep doing this? And basically, the real fight. Also, this is episode 1144, if you wanted to know, by the way. The real fight happens, basically starts right after his boyfriend calls him dead weight. And Zoro's like, all right, let me lock the fuck in. Boom, he gets pissed. Immediately, we start to see the Conqueror's Haki, like little lightning start flying around him because he's pissed, obviously. And then Lucci's like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna use the hand pistols. I'm gonna just jab you in the face. I'm gonna just kill you, right? Lucci's like, I'm gonna end it here. And then Zoro's like, wham, 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 like just dodging and weaving, right? Zips back like at light speed. And then he's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna end it now. Also, animation, once again, I just have to say, animation is peak. Hits him with the spot hunt, whatever the hell it was. And Lucci got no diff. No diff by Zoro. And that's why it's in number 2. The main reason why it's in number 2 is, obviously the animation is peak, but it's to really show the levels in which that Zoro has grown in such a short amount of time. Anyway, that's gonna be that. Now we move to some honorable mentions. Alright, honorable mention number 1. Now, for me, this is gonna be Rashomon. Now, if you don't know what Rashomon is, it is one of Zoro's moves. And now, the Rashomon, if you don't know, is one of Zoro's moves. And he uses it for the first time in episode 260, or 7. And what he ends up doing is some badass shit, right? So, basically, Luffy's like, yo, well, they're on the water train going to Enies-Lobby, and another water train's coming at them head on. And so what Zoro does, oh, I don't remember if it's another water train or something, but essentially they're gonna run into something. But essentially, everyone's panicking. They're like, "What are we gonna do? We gotta get ready. We're gonna fight. We're gonna do all this." And then Luffy, now they're on the roof of the train. I don't remember why. It's been a long time since I watched that arc, but they're probably fighting some people. They're on the roof of the train, and Luffy's up there, and so is Zoro. And then Luffy's like, "Hey Zoro, cut them." Literally, that's all he says. He's just like, yo Zoro, they're in our way, cut them, get them out of our way. And well, guess what Zoro does? He's just like, sure, I got this. Walks up, and then a whole bunch of shit starts happening. Like the world like slows down, all this shit. Zoro starts like chanting and something, some Buddhistry or something, I don't know, whatever he is. And then he hits him with the Rashomon, which, if you don't know, I think is his coolest technique. It's my favorite technique of Zoro's. And yeah, it's just badass. That was like the most badass moment Zoro had up to date in the show. Like, it's just crazy. It was just crazy, man. Another honorable mention has to go to, obviously, in Dressrosa, where he cuts the giant mountain guy in half. I forget his name. I'll chuck the clip up on the screen. It's literally just him slicing the dude in half. He gets launched by some dude who can punch really strong, and yeah, it just cuts a giant mountain in half, which is really cool because it's like the first time we see him using, like, well, this is the first, I'm pretty sure Dressrosa is like the first proper arc where we see them all utilizing Haki and like basically the actual training experience from the time skip. And yeah, we get to see Zoro slice this absolute giant mountain in half. And so yeah, enough with the honorable mentions. Let's just get straight to number 1, because I don't want to wait around. I just want to reveal it. And if you're a Zoro fan, I mean, for one, if you're a Zoro fan, hit that sub button. You know, you're gonna be making another video very soon. You know, I'm gonna make a 5Anji video probably next. You know, that might be a little hard. Video might take a little while because 5Anji is 5Anji. You know, it's not really that cool. Anyway, I'm joking. I don't really hate Sanji. He's just not as cool as Zoro. Anyway, coming in at the big number 1. That's right, number 1, and we have the pain of my crewmates is my pain. That's right, Zoro's nothing happened. Alright, now this was a dead giveaway. Like, everybody knows this is probably Zoro's coolest moment to date ever. Happens in episode 377. Literally, the name of the episode is "The Pain of My Crewmates Is My Pain." It is a crazy episode right after Thriller Bark ends. We know, all right, to give some context to the people that don't understand, Thriller Bark, there is this former warlord character, former possibly Yonko character named Gecko Moria, which there was a flashback where Gecko Moria used to clash with Kaido. That's how strong Gecko Moria was, right? And there's this guy named Gecko Moria, and he has the power of the hollow fruit. No, that's the go. He's the power of like the shadow fruit, whatever the hell it is. And essentially, he's really, really strong. And Luffy is fighting this guy. And what Luffy is doing is he becomes this thing called Nightmare Luffy, where essentially he absorbs the shadows of a bunch of like fighting spirit, like dead spirits, because that's the whole power of Gecko's fruit. And then he beats the shit out of Moria, and all sorts of shit happens. A bunch of weird shit happens anyway. Now, going further on, right, he does all of this. And then, obviously, this is a long battle. It was happening over like a day, and Luffy took a lot of damage, right? Now, with his body being made out of elastic, he can obviously take a lot more damage than the average human. So essentially, just to say, at bare minimum, Luffy can withstand 3 times the amount of damage that a regular human can. Now, Kuma shows up. Now, we're not talking about any Kuma, we're talking about the real Kuma, and the one with the pawpaw fruit. He shows up, and Zoro and Sanji are racing to sacrifice their lives, because obviously this guy is really strong. He beat the shit out of him. He's like, I give you an impossible task. You must take all of Luffy's pain and suffering, and if you can survive that, I will leave you guys and let you live. And well, Zoro and Sanji obviously are racing, you know, to do that. And then eventually Zoro knocks out Sanji. And then what ends up happening is just a fraction of Luffy's pain almost knocked him out, right? Almost sent him unconscious. So he moves somewhere else to go do this, you know? And then we don't see it. We don't see it happening. We just saw how much that little bit of mind you, Zoro is also beat up as hell. He was fighting alongside everyone as well, and so he takes all the pain. And then it cuts to the future, you know, where all the crew wakes up. Zoro and Luffy's like, I feel light as a feather. I feel fine, you know, nothing's happened, you know. I feel like I haven't taken any damage, because he literally hasn't. All his pain and suffering went to Zoro. And so Sanji, obviously being the only one that was awake when it happened before Zoro knocked him out, goes looking for Zoro. And what do we have here? There's blood everywhere. My guy Zoro is just standing there, bang, arms crossed, like nothing happened. That's right, nothing happened. He's asking him what happened. He's saying nothing happened. And guess what? As far as they know, as far as the crew knows, nothing happened. He doesn't even have to keep it a secret. He could tell his crew, oh yeah, I was going to sacrifice my life so you guys could live. He could tell his crew that. But no, this is Zoro. This is the badass that he is. He said nothing happened. And obviously that leaves him out of commission for like the next arc. Like, I believe for the start of the next arc, he was basically like dead. It is what it is, because Nande Monai, or I don't remember what he says, but something like that. That shit was the most badass moment by far Zoro has ever done, ever. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, boys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, it would be greatly appreciated if you drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment. I would love to see some comments down there, you know. Let me know what you want to see next. Obviously this series be going on for a little longer. We got the whole crew to get through, and then we got other characters to get through. But obviously Sanji video coming in next. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you all in the next one. Ladies, boys.